You know, I got cut off on a radio show that was supposedly people fighting for the truth in this country. The very moment I started talking about mind control, the music came on. You must assess this world with truth. You must be as a child, meaning pre-programming. That's part of what entering heaven as a child means. You have to be honest with yourself about this world. You're told right off the bat you're on Earth. How do you know? Why? Because other humans tell you that? They've told you that's where you are, that this is life, the food chain is normal, biology says so. How do you know that? You're trusting everything you've been told. If your instinct, which is valid, tells you that doesn't make sense, you're right. That's what building your house in a rock means. You must know thyself. Satan controls all of academia, all of the media, all of the money, everything you're told. All its symbols are everywhere. The color blue, the color purple, butterflies. Butterflies are a huge symbol of Satan, the transformation from what you are into what it wants you to be. So it's subconsciously putting that image of metamorphosis out there. You have sorcery being practiced on you. You have all kinds of control methods you couldn't even comprehend. Those who are in control of the world are anti-Christ. It's obvious. They're puppets of Satan. The anti-Christ consciousness and control system here was already there back then. The anti-Christ or diseased cancerous consciousness is what murdered him then, and it has risen since. Understand that. That's what happened. And they can argue it all they want. It's what they do. That's why they argue. That's all they can do, is argue. And eventually they can't answer questions anymore, so they just talk over you. Or, I love this one, you're crazy, you need some therapy. Generally, the people that run the world will come off as the nice ones. Everything they'll say about their group is always going to be, of course, nice, and anybody who says anything against their group is, of course, insane. The implication is they're insane, and the group will always be nice about it. You know, I care about you. You seem to be having some mental problems. You might benefit from some therapy. And you create this fraudulent pseudoscience they call psychology, and you indoctrinate the public into its credibility so that you can draw upon it whenever you are discovered. You witness this all the time, whether you know it or not. You see, in the Bible, they even tell you, watch out for people who give long, extended sermons for praise on their outer persona. It's right in there. But with mind control, people cannot allow themselves to see their primary agenda. They absolutely require you to feel responsible for whatever they have done to you. They need you to be ignorant of the extra-dimensional influence. Because if you're ignorant of that, you will blame everything on yourself. What they do is make you default the best they can. Make you defy what you normally would do. They do all the shit through you, pervert you, corrupt you, your character, basically. Get all the other characters to hate you if possible. And then use what they've done to and through you against you. Satan isn't stupid. Satan's intellectual strength grows with each new soul that it absorbs. Hence the Marilyn Manson lyric, the more you fear us, the stronger we get. You know, it's a growth. Do you understand that? It's growing like a cancer. Like a bunch of computers that are all linked together for super processing. They see no limits. They want new formulas, new calculations, new colors, new sounds, you know? They break your will until eventually you just give yourself to this cancer consciousness so it can absorb you for itself. That's why people that try to do everything right here cannot. But they're conned into thinking this is normal here. And that's what Satan doesn't want you to know. That's what demons don't want you to know. They want you concerned about the future. And they're strategizing against this because they know this knowledge is going to get out. So Satan will try to get you to abandon the mind altogether. Why? Because there is truth in the fraudulent nature of your ego. So it knows that truth will come out. So it has to amplify that and exaggerate it beyond usefulness. Get rid of the whole mind. Become a robot. Those been taken over by cancer see the world as math, random calculation of possibility, and it can snowball based upon pain and pleasure. Comedy is the #1 vector for mind control because it puts you in a pleasurable state and you're focused on the joke, and therefore they can slip in so many messages and you'll associate their messages with pleasure. Every truth that is true, they make fun of it as if it's corny and stupid, and that's the whole intent of that. You see it as comedy, expression of a comedian to get some laughs, because you don't know how over your head these movie producers are and what is controlling them. If you want to call it Satan, Semiramis, Isis, the serpent, it doesn't matter. And it recruits them and tells them how much it loves them. Do you understand that evil is going to come in the name of love? You think it's stupid? It's going to come in the name of hate? No! The #1 thing that evil will push on you is love and how much it loves you. Just like the guy trying to get sex in a bar, telling the girl how much he loves her and how he'll respect her in the morning. Satan plagiarizes to recruit, to entice, to seduce. It plagiarizes the Creator. Just love me. Do whatever you want, just love me, and I'll love you back. Satan coordinates this bullshit New Age movement to get people to dissociate. It's no different than getting drunk. Don't talk to me so firmly. You're putting me on a negative vibration. What? It's detachment from your normal instinct to try to help everybody in this realm. You become concerned with your own bliss. Therefore, you don't speak out against it unless you're speaking out to get other people to detach. Lilith, right? All the different names for the serpent. There's a difference between using psychic manipulation to enhance your feeling of pleasure, the tingly sensation that it uses, that Satan uses, and true love. And the irony is this. A lot of these people that are worshiping Satan with whatever name they choose, with whatever form Satan is using to seduce them, when they feel love, that's the love of God. But because you can't discern that with all of this confusion here, Satan just takes credit for that. Yes, that was my love. Satan is like a cancer. Therefore, it has scalar growth, and it will see itself as one thing. So, when it seduces and entices and recruits, its reasoning will be very, very close to the reasoning that Christ would have. We are one. I am you, you are me. Very similar to creation, isn't it? Yet, it will have the cancer agenda, right? Hurt other people, that's fine. Just love me. That is the difference. Cancer wants you to do whatever you want to that which is not its creation, to destroy it, as long as your allegiance is to the cancer. And once it sucks you in, you're its slave, whether you know it in your current role or not. It knows. So it can be very confusing because it will make a lot of sense. It will mirror a lot of the laws of creation, except for the love and respect for all of the creations. That will be the difference. Greed, materialism. There are two oneness campaigns going on simultaneously. One of them is the recruiting by the cancer. We are one. Do you understand that? We're one consciousness. And that is the phenomenon of the all-seeing eye, or the hive mind. Satan can speak through anybody at any time that it's connected to. The problem is, the majority of these used car salesmen everybody calls priests, with this black and white, the dark side of the yin-yang, as these burning incense, all of these things you're warned about in the Bible. Do you understand that they are practicing occult Satanism, whether they know it or not? Some of them were probably indoctrinated into Catholicism. Others were indoctrinated into Satanism and are posing as Catholic priests. Either way, they're recruiting and manipulating people with it. And if somebody does know about the occult side of it, they're not going to tell you anyway, so you have to know the truth in order to be able to see this. These people aren't qualified to teach you about spirit any more than somebody's qualified to teach you how to ride a bike who's only read a book about riding a bike, and a fraudulent one at that, and has never ridden one themselves. They're not qualified. Catholicism is pure Satanism. The problem is you shouldn't need to be told that. You should be able to see that. Priests that come out and need their audience and admiration in their temple. Why does God need a temple, a building? What? It means nothing. But they get off on that because everybody gives the priest their love. They don't give anything back. They just absorb the love, which is what a lot of spiritual, quote, gurus do. They absorb your energy through admiration, what they're doing. Let me ask you something. Did Christ feel like he needed to wear a specific outfit in order to be credible? Oh, that's right. No, he didn't. What book was this man regurgitating from? Oh, that's right. No book. They're giving it a name and a procedure and a ritual. What name did he give it? Oh, that's right. No name. Do you realize that a lot of the truth that is used about creation, life, the elements of reality, a lot of that used to solicit them into that religion is also the teachings of Christ? How ironic that they draw upon the teachings of Christ to turn those against Christ. These people have a history of pointing their fingers at themselves. They did it when they switched from dictatorship to hidden hand. They're doing it now. It could very well be that these religions were designed, their very purpose, thinking this many moves ahead, designed to fail. How? Why? Well, if they steal the teachings of Christ, then point their fingers at themselves like they always do, expose the Babylonian symbolism, the satanic symbolism of the religions they created, they could do that in hopes to make you abandon all Christ's teachings as well, do you see? If you don't know that they stole those teachings, then you'll think that they created those teachings. They expose the deity as symbolism, and then everybody will have their big sigh of relief. Oh, we don't have to be good. We don't have to follow any of that. You see, the ultimate last-ditch attempt to discredit Christ. Why? That opens the door for the New World religion of sorcery, or Satanism. It has to be that because there's no way these people doing what they're doing could have given the metaphors that Christ gave to create some symbolic deity. The two wouldn't go hand in hand. It really, from what I've been learning, what I've seen, they stole his teachings to draw people into both Christianity and Satanism. Then they're going to point the finger at the symbolism of Christianity and other religions so that people release all of the teachings of Christ, thinking it was a fraud, for the final entrapment. The more that I'm taught, the more that I'm learning, the more I understand what Christ was saying. I mean, from the ground up. I may say it differently, but I understand it. There are a lot of people that are like, yeah, I understand it too. That's not what I mean. I mean, I truly understand it. So, one thing I know is that somebody at some time knew what I'm learning better than I know it. And you can only know that when you know it. And how do I know this person was connected to creation? Well, from what I'm learning. Somebody knew the correct way to perceive this reality, what it was, and how to handle it, how to overcome it. I know the Illuminati didn't come up with a lot of those parables. They couldn't have, because if they could, meaning they had the understanding, the knowledge that builds the foundation reaching the conclusion in these parables, if they knew that, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. Let me say that again. If these people that created religion knew and understood the meaning behind those parables, they would not be doing what they're doing right now. Therefore, I know that somebody knew outside of this control system. So, by deduction, based upon what I know, the man existed. I can only infer that they stole the teachings of this man to sell this pagan worship of Satan. Why did he keep his mouth shut when they questioned him? A, they didn't want to know the truth, and B, they weren't going to give him 2 weeks to try to lead him to the truth. Therefore, he couldn't answer the questions. He just kept his mouth shut. And he knew they were all under demonic mind control. Forgive them, they know not what they do. Why do you think you didn't know what you were doing?
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. This came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
That's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
The abnormal people stay there and they run things, and they pretend to be like Bill and Hill Clinton, like they're married and stuff, and they have this whole other thing going on in multiplicity of partners and people and feedings and rituals and covens and witchcraft and magic and sorcery and evil and war and pain and suffering and all that they cause in order to boost themselves and feel real good about who they are. Yeah. So when I see them, I know exactly what I'm looking at. Murderous, hostile spirits within these people. Why is sex with children the most important thing to them? That's like that, and the death of babies is like the two things they love. So then I knew there was a mind link between them all. That was explained later by Jonathan Kleck as being the all-seeing eye in people, because that thing is in all people from the genetic manipulation that occurred called the fall of man. And that is how they're able to police this whole thing through the all-seeing eye. Finishing of the genetic manipulation, which is the resident being that would take over your body and over your mind. That would be, in a sense, this whole world is the breaking through the other side and being cool means allowing yourself to be possessed by these beings, or this collective being that is got everyone else, so that you're nod, wink, wink, cool with everybody. Most people don't think this far, They just know that if they allow these people to control them, and they bow down, and they allow themselves to be broken by them, and then abused and used and trauma-based mind controlled by them, there's a chance they'll get one of those beings in them, and if they do, then they get to be somebody. The rest just get to be servants, but the servants protect the secret, and it's all a big hive and a big web, because they all have that all-seeing eye. They're all connected with a hive mind, and they can't get out of it. It's sex, it's behavior, it's having one of those beings in you so that you can be connected, so you can see what to do and when to do it in coordination with the rest of them. And that's really more to the point, rather than an act of sex for an initiation rite or something like that. That doesn't get it done, So they are fit extensions for the fallen angels, demons, the pantheon of spirits, and they are doing what they were made to do and not resisting. But there's no longer someone in there or a living soul there to be redeemed, and that's really the way I liken a twice death experience. How many people say, well, they had this person, then they changed, and then it's like they're dead inside. Their eyes are dead, and they are animated when those spirits take over. And then they jump around and move around, but that's the only time they do. And they practice satanic ritual abuse, pedophilia, gun running, drug running, war running, political fixes, When you sign on with the witchcraft, when you sign on with the appeasing the gods, meaning the fallen angels, but you're appeasing the gods, you want the gods to honor you, you're basically agreeing to destroy humanity and boost yourself. Kill your child in order to boost your career forever. How many of them would kill their firstborn for money? Well, they all had to. Oh, they can make him commit suicide. That counts. Just gang stalk him until he realizes he's on the set of Rosemary's Baby, and he goes ahead and jumps off a building. That happens. And they still get credit. The whole thing was based on blood. The sex is just to raise the power, of the ritual. The dancing, like the voodoo dancing and that kind of thing, to get possessed. But blood is required to get it going. And then if there's a sexual dance kind of thing that happens, fine. But it's all, it's without the blood, you don't have anything. I guess I should have started off with this. Protection against black magic. That is, if they spill blood against you, here's how it can work. They take something of yours, they kill a child and put something of yours in the circle to curse you, and they take the power of that blood against you for your life. Life for life. You understand now? Say internationally, among nations, that when they get into these wars like Iran, they're going to spill a certain amount of blood, and they're going to dedicate that blood to the gods in order to then prosper on the other side of World War III. And that's what they do. You got Ahmadinejad, Obama. Obama's a big-time voodoo player from, with African heritage. Perfect. You get Obama, you get, and the rest of the club, and they all meet behind closed doors like Iran's been meeting with the Pentagon in order to set up the fake World War III, where they just nuke American cities and say, look, Iran, Russia's doing it. When Putin's there, they're all there. And they do their rituals and sacrifices, and then they go and then they pretend to be the leaders of countries, and then you sit there like you think it's the USA against Iran or Russia or China. It's nothing like that. Just this image. Let me leave you with this. Picture Ahmadinejad and Obama and Clinton and Bush and the Bushes and whoever else is alive from the old days, and the new batch of people sitting around at a ritual in let's say it's in some secret location where there's drums being beaten and fire going and people dressed up in robes and stuff, and there they all are. And the next one who wants to be famous brings his bound child to the circle where all the leaders are. And this is to stoke up the power, and basically guts his own kid in front of them, and then becomes the next president of the United States. You understand? Or something else. In other words, they sell out their own people. They sacrifice, like Obama wants to sacrifice the USA to boost himself and his wife and his children so they can have, a lavish lifestyle. Well, the devil will give it to you, but he requires blood. You got to do something for him. You got to do it amongst them. You got to find out who they are and serve them, and then do something in the midst of them to appease that God. And then you too can have your security and fame and fortune. Now, is there any exception to that? I'll look at a guy like Mitt Romney, and I'll look at a guy like John Huntsman. I'll look at Glenn Beck. I go, you think they would ever? How is it that Glenn Beck got his hands on $50 million or $100 million? How did he do that? He talks about God and, oh, don't worry. He's done something. He may not even be aware of it, but something had to be done. Or something done for him that he's not aware of. There's also that, where the rock star is still asleep. He doesn't know that a sacrifice has been done in his name that boosted him. He thinks he's as pure and innocent as the driven snow. And yet, he is cursed because Satan owns him. He may even be a Christian artist. Could something have been done in his honor, spilling blood to Satan to boost him? Even though he may not be none the wiser. Well, that couldn't completely be true because he would have to be in a Masonic brotherhood, some kind of a thing like that, in order to sustain that level of success. Now, I know that's a hard reality to swallow. I know that's a harsh, rude awakening to think that's the way it really is. And that, the worst is that these people are psychopaths because behind the scenes they're all high-fiving each other. Like Ahmadinejad hanging out with Obama and all the rest of them. Netanyahu's in there and, they're all sitting there at a bacchanalia. Maybe they're all having sex with each other. Would that disturb you? Or worse, having sex with children, maybe killing a couple of them in order to boost their political fortunes. Would that disturb you if you saw that on video? Because then they go on and do these charities and everyone says, oh, they're a great person. But then when they get in a ritual and they get to kill somebody, they make fun and degrade them and then stab them and dismember them and eat them and laugh at what a sorry loser they are. This makes them, and so when I see world leaders and stuff, I automatically see them in that light. All I have to do is cut to the coven meeting when they have their sacrifices and all. That's all I have to do. Or they take glee over abortion, or the snuff film industry. They have a private. I've kind of explained this years and years ago. They'll have like a plane crash, and then they'll have the video feed of what's going on in the plane as people are taking 3-4 minutes to die and freaking out and all that. And then they have an orgy, and they'll play that film and other films, things like that, because they can't get off unless they have violence and death and murder and blood and dismemberment. And that's what it takes for them to get off. And they being a hive mind, the orgy is more the kind of sex they like. They have to have it with multiple people because it's a hive mind. They're more like insects. No, with me, it was like early on in life, I saw how evil they were. And then God puts you back together and causes you integration. But you can't integrate until you can handle. You can't integrate multiple. Look, on their side, they all have multiple personalities. Pretty much, I've never met anyone that wasn't at least double-minded, where they could switch into something else and then switch back. At least I saw that. That's 100% of them. 100%. There is no exception. Who are just connected and just made things. World was their oyster, yeah. These won't get the worst of it. The worst of it is reserved for the pastors of the Babylon church that they put the name of Jesus Christ on. That will be the worst of all punishments. And they will not only be as if they have never been upon the earth, but they actually, in their arrogance and narcissism, and I've heard them, and some of these guys, their wives are Jezebels, and they control them. They get up there on the, right, they're compromised, right? Probably pedophilia, probably murder or something. And so the wife is like the puppet master. I've seen this every single church I've been to. Same thing, Jezebel wife behind every pastor, controlling him because he's compromised. So, but she totally controls him, and and is part of the sisterhood, and the sisterhood controls all these guys. But from a secular perspective, they try to explain about all the world leaders being compromised. But that's true. They all have to have something on them, and it's always the sisterhood, that are controlling them. It's not like the men rule the world at all. It's the women that do. But they stay behind the scenes, and they make it look like they're just light little women. But no, it's their sisterhood. They know they're compromised. It's being orchestrated from another source, not God. But God has got still control of it. But it's obviously controlling it. But it's being the authority and the police, like the band, the police. The police, the all-seeing eye is the police. Because they are ubiquitous and they're, the mass population. God will avenge you on her. Her being Babylon. Mystery Babylon is the mystery is the grip, the iron grip. The mystery of Babylon it's the world system. That's the mystery of it. And it's a spiritual hierarchy that is regimented, highly technological, and highly controlled. These people have just really become, in a way, machines. You're seen. Oh, no, I know in the world they pat you on the back as wise, but that's all TV programming. You don't understand. You're on the Truman Show. They're paid to pat you on the back. Okay? Jesus is the only way out of that situation. The only way that you're split, good versus evil, DNA, sick versus well, that collision of opposites within you that is tethered you to this prison planet, which is really a dream. You're here. And the only way out of here, of this prison, is Christ. Okay? Thank you.